if you go back to our founding fathers, everything's based on Christians. I don't think people of other religions, of other beliefs would just come in and just tear down everything that we built this country on.
Today is the National Day of Prayer. There are 20,000 gatherings like this across America today where people are coming together to pray for their nation. In fact, a lot of them think that America has gone off the righteous path and that their very freedom to practice their Christian faith is under threat.
As you just saw from our clip, it's basically saying like a lot of people of different religions sometimes face persecution with their religion. For example, Muslims, they are called to prayer 3 times a day, and there have been social experiments where somebody of that faith, of the Islamic faith, have prayed in public, and they got a lot of bad backlash from it, saying like you shouldn't do that in an open space, that's wrong. Instances where we see roadblocks with religious heritage is at school, and it's not like extreme, but like not everybody at GC is Christian, and so they might feel a little like not singled out, but like out of place maybe, because a lot of people assume that like, oh, since you go to a Christian school you must be Christian, and they don't have like a voice with their religion to speak out. So that's like an instance at our school where something like that might happen.
Can be described as an environment into which somebody is born and raised into, and in Joel 1:3 it says that tell it to your children and let your children tell it to their children and their children to the next generation. So I mean, like when I first think of like telling someone to your children, I think of like stories, like passing stories down, and in a way like religions and like the Bible are kind of like stories. They're like stories of people and like how they went through life. So what's your religious background, like your family background?
So my family in China believes in Buddhism, and my mom practices it daily. We have a thing where we worship, like she worships Buddha, and then every day, like before and after work. But like she's kind of extreme, and she's a vegetarian because of that. And then when I'm in China, she would ask me to be a vegetarian, or she want me to not eat meat on certain days. And then
so with your family being Buddhist, has that affected your life going to a Christian school?
Yes, I think it has. So if my family doesn't have any religious background, and then it's probably easier to convince me to become a Christian. But then since I have been in my family environment for 14 years before I got here, like probably I thought that was truth before I got here, and then now like I just don't believe in anything.
So what's your religious background?
My parents, I was born into a Christ-centered family. We went to Church of Christ. My parents were Church of Christ. My grandparents were Church of Christ. Everyone I knew for the first 15 years of life regarding religion were all Church of Christ.
You were raised Christian. Were you always Christian?
My faith in Church of Christ began to wane in my early 20s. I recognized how intolerant my congregation was anyway towards Christians of other faiths, and I adhere to the scripture that Jesus' grace is sufficient for all, not just people who are Christian already or who practice different types of Christian. So I did eventually get baptized into the Mormon faith. It was for personal and family reasons. I was impressed with how they kept Christ at the forefront of everything they did. I did not stay with the Mormon Church, but I do appreciate their love for God and Jesus, and it helped me at that time.
How did entering a different faith affect your belief?
What was coming to my mind was that everyone has their own way of believing in Jesus, and everyone has their own way of following their faith, and we're not here to judge. That's God's job, when and where He chooses. So I appreciate morality, spirituality, faith, and a loving kindness between all people.
A solution we could take to resolve the conflict between our religions is not limiting our fellowship to just our religion, and maybe reaching out, because all religions, all people still struggle with homelessness, and so maybe if we could just reach out and help them, that could be a short-term solution to the division between our religions.